Rob, what about you? What advice do you have for new people?
So the question was for an agency who's just starting out under 10,000 revenue, right?
Yep.
So assuming that they have the skills to fulfill the jobs, the first thing I would do before anything else is start a YouTube channel. I would start a YouTube channel and I would start providing value to the specific industry that I'm serving. And I would not stop. I would do 10 videos a day if I could. It's all I would do. I put all of my time into content and just keep hitting that while the agency grows. Because after time, that thing's gonna become a monster and you'll be the authority. It's an immediate authority builder in the future. So that's the hard part is you got to look past, wow, this sucks right now because, I'm doing all these videos and there's nobody watching them and you just got to keep going with that. That's what I would do. If I had nothing, had to start from scratch, I would pick a niche in Google Ads and I would attack it with YouTube.
Awesome.
Good and stuff. Probably cold email.
Cold email. Okay. My advice to somebody new would be two things. Focus is the key. So focus on the main thing. Make the main thing the main thing. Great book called The One Thing. And it's basically about identifying the one main thing in your business or in your life and focusing all your effort on that. So not divert effort. Like people talk about diversifying their assets and their streams of income, but only people that should apply to are people that are rich and are then trying to diversify their assets, not people that are looking to get going. If you're trying to get going, you don't have a lot of money. Focus, make focus the key, focus on the main thing. So if it's a Google Ads agency, make that it. Because focus is a powerful thing and can really, move mountains. And the other thing is to create a mentality that Rob and I live by, which is the next mentality. So something good happens in your business, next. Something bad happens in your business, next. Move on to the next thing. Celebrate your wins quickly, mourn your losses quicker. And just remember that it's always next. And if you don't look in terms of a next mentality and a pipeline mentality, at some point you're going to look up and you've got no customers, nothing in your pipeline that you can work. And the business, is at that point is on the decline. If you're not growing, you're declining just by the nature of churn. So I would say just have an X mentality and focus on the main thing. So that's all I got.
Well said. Took us a long time for the focus, man. That was the biggest piece.
Oh, hell yeah.
Easier said than done.
It's hard in this industry. Yeah, it's hard in this industry to focus.
Yeah. So many shiny objects in this industry that, quick ways to make money that you can divert some effort or focus towards something else. And it's just, it's easy. Shiny object syndrome is a thing for a reason.
Yeah, I think also like with the focus thing, when you realize, as I'm realizing now, like years into this, if I would have just focused in the beginning a little bit more, some of the issues I'm dealing with today would not exist. And some of the frustrations I deal with today would not exist. Right. And I think sometimes it's just believing that that's better. Like actually it's just your mindset, right? Like what you said a minute ago, Mark, about like, let them ruin somebody else's business for hiring. To me, that's just a mindset shift. It's like, okay, wait a minute. It's not that I'm not helping this person, it's that they're going to hurt the business if I hire them, right? Like that's a mindset shift. And I think if we think about it as just focusing on a few things, it's so much easier to get good at a couple of things than it is to get good at 50 things or 50 types of things. And, it's just like, how fast do you want to be good at something? Do you want it to be 10 years from now, or do you want it to be 10 months from now, right? Like, or 10 weeks from now, maybe, who knows? Yeah. So I think that's another important thing that you said, is just believing it's going to be better.
Yeah.
I will say EOS has allowed us to speed that up, honestly, running those L10 meetings and being able to not be just the owner focusing on something and handing that over to an employee and saying, hey, this is your job for the next 90 days. This is a task that you need to get done. Most employees love that too, because again, being the human bottleneck, I slow everything down. And everybody loves the idea that I have. And then they're like, hey, remember 2 years ago when you said we should do that? And then I never did it. But removing that, because some people can't focus, and allowing the team to do it. If you've got good team members, helps too.
Can you, for those that don't know, can you kind of just give a 30-second recap of what EOS is and how it works?
Yeah, so entrepreneurial operating system is what it stands for, what EOS stands for. There's a couple of good books. Traction would be the first book that you read. It essentially tells people, and you guys are kind of I think a good example of it. You have your innovator and you have your integrator, The innovator has got a lot of good ideas, but never puts pen to paper. The integrator is the one that's sitting there and taking care of things. And instead of having an organizational chart, you have an accountability chart. So I have an employee that's my boss. I look at it, I say that in jest, but our integrator tells the innovator, hey, pull your head out of your ass. You need to do this job, this job, this job. So EOS is really good for, and you guys might have it as one of you is the integrator and one of you is the innovator. And that I've seen a couple of partnerships that have worked out well like that. But EOS is a good solution to help focus in on, one main meeting a week that, puts everything to task. You have 90 days. So we run every quarter. You have rocks that you work through, things that you want to get done that are really going to move the needle for your business. And it's been revolutionary for us. It's another thing that Josh Nelson pushes in his 7-figure agency, that he gives you all the tools to do to get that set up. But I've really loved it. I sort of went ass backwards like I do in everything in business. I read Rocket Ship first, and that was basically talking about what that integrator and what the innovator, how they work with each other really well. So once I read Traction, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. But EOS is pretty cool. It's not something to do until you have a team to do it with, is another good point too. If you're starting a consulting firm, or if you're starting your company, and you've got yourself and one other employee, I don't know if that's yet when to do it. When you've got 3 or 4 employees, and those can be VAs too. If you've got overseas work, you can run EOS with it. So it does help lighten the load for the owner, for the person that carries a lot of that burden.
Very cool. Awesome. Any tidbits or anything else you guys want to leave off with before we get off?
Performance Max. Get ready for
Performance Max.
We'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one next time.
Performance Max.